Yo, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Rider Spike back again once again. Today we have for Kamen Rider GAVV episode 32, and in this episode we see that the boys get together and end up defeating the Mantis part-timer, and we got to see Shoma have his little one-on-one talk with the princess and her basically making threats and things like that towards him. And we also see that the president has basically made his move, essentially trying to get more big wigs of the Granute world to basically help out with the whole dark treats thing and introducing them to the human world, because Granutes don't know, a lot of the rest of the Granute world does not know what humans are or didn't even know humans even existed. So we see that the boys have basically gotten together trying to find the Mantis part-timer ever since he got away from them when he shedded his skin and gotten away from both of them. We see that Shoma is also off doing his own thing. He's tracking down certain agents and stuff who are getting ready to go back into Stomach Inc. and drop off their payloads of humans that they've collected from other part-timers. And we also see that Shoma has his little one-on-one talk with the princess, and she basically makes like these threats towards him. He asks questions like, what is going on, basically what's going on in his stomach, why did you marry my brother, stuff like that. And she tells him that Longo has been demoted to like supply chain dude. We see that the president has basically taken over Stomach Inc. completely, and they ended up making Jeeb like the CEO of the company. And she also wants to thank Shoma for actually taking out Shita, because I guess that's her best way of like really getting into Jeeb's head and like really manipulating him now that Shita is gone, and Shita was basically his other half. So now she can make him do whatever she technically wants him to do, from what I'm understanding. And we also see that the princess, she is a Granute, but she also I guess she just doesn't like bright colors. Anything that's bright colored or anything like that, she basically like destroys it. She plucks out all the colors that she doesn't like, and ends up leaving all of the darker, gloomy kind of colors there, to basically fit her own little weirdo aesthetic. Like she does that with a big bouquet of flowers at this restaurant. She does that with some pancakes that she was eating. Like she just likes the gritty, grungy, dark, gloomy kind of colorway, and it gives off the way her personality is. It's really creepy. But we see that the boys basically we see that Hanto and Lakia are basically working together to still find this part-timer, because Lakia wants to question him and thinks that he's the one that took out Komel. And Hanto was the one that basically convinced him that, hey, we're hurt right now, even though you are a Granute still get hurt, so we're just going to regroup for a while, and then after that, we'll go back on a hunt for him. We do see that they end up they go back to Suga's old place, which they kind of have their own little talk and stuff like that. Hanto basically finds a first aid kit for the both of them to use, and they kind of get into it. That's what Lakia gets informed. Lakia basically gets informed by Hanto that, yeah, man, like I kind of understand what you're going through. He tells Lakia the story about his mom and things like that, and he searched for his mom for 18 years but never knowing that she was actually gone. And Lakia basically tells him about Komel and what happened to Komel and things like that. So they kind of like have some type of like, hey, we go from being two dudes that don't like each other to like a frenemy kind of thing, So they ended up going after the husk, they end up going after the Mantis. And when they ended up finding the Mantis, he's not as scared to like fight them this time, because you feel like he's really like kind of prepared himself. But yeah, also we see that Niliv ends up visiting Dente. We see that one of his agents comes and tells Niliv that, hey, we finally located Dente. He goes and finds Dente, and he wants Dente to come back to Stomach Inc. and he figures out that he figures out that Hanto has the same belt as Lakia, and he figures that the only person that can replicate his stuff is his dear old mentor himself. So he tries to get Dente to come back and start making dark treats again and stuff like that. And I think he left a dark treat there. I think he did. I think he ended up leaving a dark treat there, but you know, Dente hopefully doesn't get tempted to freaking eat that thing when he runs out of his own little snacks. But yeah, it's sort of foreshadowing that he does leave Dente without hurting him or anything like that. Not really any threats or anything. It's just that, you know, he knows where Dente is now, so that could be bad, and maybe Dente most likely will have to move or figure out some type of way that so Neelev can't get to him anymore, because you know Neelev is still part of Stomach and he's still pretty dangerous, and there's no telling what he's going to tell the rest of the family, if he tells the rest of the family, because we know that Neelev likes to keep his own little secrets. So we see the boys have basically found the Mantis. They get ready to start fighting the Mantis. Hanto ends up going into his Frappe form, and we get to fighting him, and this fight was pretty cool. One thing I love about GAVV is the fact that they have really good fight scenes, really good camera angles, really good cinematography in the fight. Even if the characters really aren't doing much of fighting, the camera angles and stuff really look cool. In the background, we do see that Shoma is tracking down an agent after he leaves, after you know he's done talking with the princess. We see that he intercepts a agent who is getting ready to drop off this payload, and he ends up fighting that agent. But that's pretty much all we see from Shoma. We do see how he defeats the agent, but that's pretty much all we see of Shoma, and it's pretty cool to see like the other two, you know, really get some shine and stuff like that, you know, because we know this show really gives a lot of build vibes. So every writer and stuff is gonna have their own moments and their own bonding moments and their own times to shine. And I really like that about GAVV. It's still going strong with that pretty much. But we see that the boys end up defeating the Mantis the Mantis grenade after, you know, Lakia asks him, are you the one that took out my brother? And he ends up telling him that I had nothing to do with your brother and stuff like that. He also was mocking him throughout the fight, you know, telling him like mocking him throughout the fight, and also mocking his brother. And it took Hanto to come out and to get him to get a cool head. And we see that Hanto stands there, and he basically takes a bunch of takes a lot of blunt attacks. You know, we see that the Mantis is shooting a bunch of mucus and stuff at him, and Hanto is taking all of that, and he's shielding Lakia from it, so Lakia can get a good opening in to take him out. We see that the Mantis Mantis Grenade ends up running out of mucus, so now he basically has no projectile attacks. So Lakia, he ends up telling Lakia that he had nothing to do with his brother, so Lakia still ends up taking him out anyway. We see that that's when Shoma meets up with both of them, and he basically tells them that, hey, I was able to get back all the people that were kidnapped. And we see him in his base form bringing back the Bigfoot from I think episode 1 or 2. Ends up defeating him and ends up saving all the people. And then that's when we go back and all the crew is back together eating pudding and stuff together. And then that's when we get the president talking with that other Granute that we met a few episodes ago, who was trying some of the dark treats, and he's having a good old time. He's eating it all up. He's just, it's nasty. So he basically asks him, what can I do to help you? You know, what can I do? Like, what can I do to make sure that I'm able to get more of these dark treats? And he basically says that, oh, you'll do anything, huh? Well, prefer to this guy. So then Neelev walks in, but Neelev walks in his human form. He doesn't walk in into Granute form. He walks in with his human disguise, and the dude is like, what matter of creature is this? And he says, oh, we call these things humans. And the episode ends off right there. And next episode, we are getting the full-on debut of GAVV's final form. Well, the orange version of his final form in episode 33. So that's going to be really cool. Seeing that Dente earlier in the episode did whip out a blueprint of some sort. So most likely he is working on Shoma's next upgrade. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But with that being said, guys, what you guys think about this week's episode of Kamen GAVV, and what you think of the bros getting back? What you think of the bros teaming up, getting together, and taking this dude out? And what you think is what you think the rest of Stomach Inc. has got planned, especially now that they're incorporating more big wigs of the big rich guys of the Granute world into their ranks. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, I truly do appreciate it. But with that being said, I'm going to see you guys next time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And remember, as I always say, stay Kenshin.